Meals are being prepared for asylum seekers through NYC Health and Hospitals.
As CBS 2's Shosh Bedrosian reports from Long Island City, the meals include a culturally inclusive
everything. Okay, this community here is already suffering.
The residents living in NYCHA's Queensbridge.
As we have ourselves another case of putting one group ahead of another one. Don't worry, we will get to this here shortly. But I want to go ahead and start this video out by saying that I hope you guys had a very good Thanksgiving. I hope you guys didn't get caught in the Black Friday rush. The best thing to do is go and shop after Black Friday because typically the prices don't really change. And in some cases, the prices don't change at all. I used to work a lot of retail, so therefore I have at least some bit of an idea on this. Just a little quick thing. I figured I'd just go ahead and throw it out there. But still, this right here is going to be the second video of the day, and there may be a third one depending on the outcome of the situation tomorrow. Of course, I took a few extra days, kind of personal days. I figured a lot of you guys would probably be doing the same thing as well, based upon the channel's demographic. So I'm back, and we're here to talk about the city of New York and also at the exact same time, the city of Chicago, and why it is that somehow or another, one group got served Thanksgiving dinner ahead of another. Now, there's a lot here, a lot in the background of this entire situation, but I want to go ahead and say this right now. In no way, shape, or form am I against any form of charitable organizations or, the city decides they want to cook a bunch of turkeys, they want to cook a bunch of food for people who are less fortunate. I'm all for that, okay? I'm all about that type of stuff. However, the thing is this right here. If you've ever heard the slogan, homeless vets before illegals, then therefore you would be correct in thinking that. Also, at the same time, if you think to yourself that poorer citizens that are actually naturalized citizens here in the United States, they probably should be put ahead of those who are being brought in and obviously serve such delicate meals as you're about to see right here.
The migrants, it felt like a dream come true to provide better, nutritious, and culturally relevant meals.
From freshly cooked to packaged up, these Thanksgiving meals have meaning to Edward Song.
This tradition might not be something that's familiar with a lot of our migrants today.
Song, the CEO of Commissary, says it's an opportunity to welcome migrants to American culture.
Honor both this very old American tradition, but also provide a meal that was nostalgic for our population.
His kitchen has partnered with New York City Health and Hospitals to make thousands of Thanksgiving meals.
This is our boneless chicken thigh.
With hopes of bringing a sense of comfort or familiar tastes and foods.
We lay them out, we season with like adobo.
To migrants in new, unfamiliar locations.
Instead of turkey, we did baby chicken leg, for example, with the brown gravy, just because chicken is more familiar to them.
As you can see, this assembly line is hard at work here. This is where all of the magic is happening. Commissary says they're preparing over 27,000 meals for lunch and dinner.
Quick. Very, very weird that they would practically say, this right here is what these people are used to. This right here is what these people... It seems to me like maybe they're making a special order. I mean, I understand this is not like going in McDonald's and ordering your quarter pounder with no pickles or no onions, which is exactly how I order mine. Or you go inside Burger King and you order basically a Whopper with no... how do I say this? I'm not exactly a big-time fan of getting pickles. I just don't like pickles on my burger, okay? I know it sounds like it's not related to this, but still at the same time, we're going to scrap the whole idea of turkey and ham, the normal stuff you would eat on Thanksgiving, and now we're going to give these people specialized menus. It seems to me like not only are you putting somebody, one group ahead of another group, but also at the exact same time, it feels to me like... you're basically placating and you're basically bending over, you're basically bowing down, you're basically giving them whatever they want. So, of course, people who come here illegally are suddenly going to take advantage of this if they see a bunch of idiot white liberals go out of their way to practically give them whatever the hell they want, special order or not. This is exactly what the hell is going on here. Like I've said before, and I said this earlier in the video, homeless vets before illegals. Also something else too. I would also say citizens, people who actually live in the city ahead of those illegals that quite frankly they want to turn into voters. It sounds like a contradiction. I said I was all for charity. I was all for helping people out in need, and yes, I am. And I've also said in previous videos, especially about the situation in Chicago, because Chicago had the exact same thing happen this past Thanksgiving, that with the cold coming in, we could have ourselves a bit of a humanitarian crisis, especially seeing how it is that a lot of these Venezuelans, a lot of these people who are coming over are starting to head back. Now, really quick, I want to go ahead and say this. A lot of these people, And they've tried to throw out the narrative that Greg Abbott's just sending these people to New York, just sending these people to Chicago. But the truth is this right here. The people who are coming across the border, the people who are actually taking advantage of the border crisis, they actually get to go wherever they want. They typically tend to go where their family is. So, of course, you're probably thinking, well, a lot of their family is obviously in New York or Chicago or in many of these other places that they're going to, these very, very blue liberal cities, these sanctuary cities. And, of course, to go on top of that, it kind of makes sense for these people to go there if they're actually going to go there at all, even though I have said that the border wall needs to be built and the border crisis needs to stop. And, of course, the people who live in these areas kind of sort of got what it is that they, quite frankly, voted for. I've said this on multiple occasions. But here's the thing, though. There are a lot of people who probably did not vote for this or probably did not vote in any of the elections because they probably didn't think their vote would matter, who are actually beginning to suffer from this. Now, granted, a lot of these people probably did, in fact, vote Democrat. They did, in fact, vote for the national agenda that Biden had going, where he basically told people to surge the border, all that type of good stuff there.
Make sure that we immediately surge to the border. All those people are seeking asylum. They deserve to be heard. That's who we are.
It's possible that maybe they didn't take him serious. It's possible that maybe they didn't think it was going to happen, but obviously it has, in fact, happened. And also to go on top of this, their current mayor, Eric Adams, who, by the way, has called out the Biden administration, is now under investigation. And also to go on top of this, there's now a, let's just say, a Me Too thing on him, which is very, very weird why they would go after Adams, especially given the fact that the previous mayor, Bill de Blasio's wife, somehow or another lost like $1 billion there. Yeah, just that type of stuff there. But once again, you're seeing that the city of New York, you're seeing that a lot of these liberal places have decided to put the illegals ahead of those who actually live in the city. Here you go.
In one neighborhood in Queens between NYCHA tenants and newly arrived migrants.
Fox 5's Ashley Rodriguez shows us how tensions are growing with not enough food to go around.
Why do we have to take the butt of everything? Okay, this community here is already suffering.
The residents living in NYCHA's Queensbridge houses look forward to the mobile food pantries that show up weekly. But over the past year, they have witnessed 8,000 migrants move into their neighborhood, and they have also noticed the migrants are also starting to take their stuff.
They was first online for the turkeys this morning. If they tell you to be there at 11 o'clock, you get there like 10:30, 10:45, but they already out there. The line is from over there.
More, doesn't that clip look familiar? Yes, it does look familiar because I've been hanging on to that clip for a while, ever since last week. The reason why is because I wanted to make 2 videos where this topic would come up, at least as far as identity politics was concerned. But I figured, hey, why not go ahead and use it again? Because quite frankly, it is an incident that did in fact occur. Strange logic that these people have. Now, like I said before, I am okay with cooking Thanksgiving dinner to the less fortunate. Of course, you have people out there who are not going to be able to get a meal. Poor people, of course, and this also includes some of the illegals. But still at the same time, though, putting these people ahead of the ones that actually live there is pretty shady and pretty screwed up, especially given the fact that this lady also said that people were lining up at 10 o'clock in the morning. You want to get there earlier. Of course, a lot of these people were also older. They're being forced to rely on retirement. They're being forced to rely on Social Security. And, of course, they need to get out there and actually get to the line itself. But when they show up and they see a bunch of people already there, yeah, it may make people think that maybe these people are taking advantage of something that, quite frankly, they should not be taking advantage of. But then again, though, it's New York City. It's Thanksgiving. What the hey? Let's go ahead and feed the people who are not here legally instead of those who were actually born and raised here.
Free food giveaways, especially during the holidays, have become a source of tension between longtime New Yorkers struggling to get by and newly arrived migrants who are using the system to survive. A month ago, one altercation got so heated between a resident and a migrant, someone ended up in the hospital.
We would never turn anyone away for a meal, but there simply just is not enough for both NYCHA residents and the migrant shelter residents.
Councilmember Julie Wan says she alerted the mayor to the growing tension in her community and was able to get $50,000 to increase the number of hot meals served inside NYCHA's. But she's concerned the mayor's new budget cuts will only put further stress on a community already living in scarcity.
People are going hungry right now. People are frustrated with not having enough to eat, not having heat and hot water in their shelters or in their houses in NYCHA. And people want to make sure that they just have their basic needs met. like any human would anywhere. And that's what's causing the tension.
The section of Queens, by the way, is a very, very, very poor section of Queens. 27,000 people were getting fed, and that right there is something to obviously commend. But still at the same time, though, you're feeding those who really probably shouldn't be here. You're feeding those ahead of those who actually live in the area. Once again, I've told you guys on several occasions, and I'll continue to say this over and over and over again, I'll continue to scream it to the high heavens, that when you play the identity politics game and you put one race or one group ahead of the other, the only thing it's going to do is create jealousy, okay? It's already been established that a lot of the people who are coming over, those who applied before July 21st, are getting a lot of money handed out to them, getting practically work visas, all that type of stuff there. Meanwhile, a lot of people who actually live in those areas, people mostly of color, and this also includes some poor whites and some other poor Hispanics who are actually illegally, they're not exactly getting the thing that, quite frankly, they believe that they deserve. Once again, jealousy is in action. Chicago did this as well. Now, let me roll this for you guys so that way you guys can see at the very end exactly how it is that people feel about this and how it is that the media is going out of their way to minimize this.
Chicago, this will be their first Thanksgiving in America. And while they are far from home, one Englewood group is making sure they feel welcome.
New at 10, our Charlie DeMar spoke with some of those migrants who say they are thankful despite what they're facing.
Outside Chicago's 7th Police District, like most across the city, tents cover the sidewalk where migrants, primarily from South America, wait for what's next. For some, that next move was out of the cold onto a bus and into an Englewood church for a hot Thanksgiving meal.
Those are candy yams.
If there's a need, we want to meet that need. We want to help meet that need.
Deontay Tanner runs Servants for Hope. He says after previously witnessing the despair in front of the 7th Police District, he wanted to include the migrants in his annual Thanksgiving dinner.
The hardest part was just figuring out how we was going to transport them, but including them in the actual dinner, that was easy.
Thank you, sir. You're welcome. Es lo que hablo con mis amigos.
And he's thankful for the moment that he's having right now with everybody and just being here with everybody else that's enjoying themselves and eating. So he's just happy to be here.
Renzo Marca says he's faced an incredible amount of adversity and challenges since leaving his home in Peru.
A lot of violence, a lot of arrests, but through it all, they were able to make it here, and they're very grateful to be here now, and they feel a lot safer being here.
But some across Chicago and in Englewood have not been as welcoming and have even protested the resources being used for migrants. Turner says it's his goal to help anyone in need, no matter where they're from.
It's on all of us, right? This is our community. Once they're in our community, they're part of the community, and it's on us.
That whole BRT thing, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I know a lot of people love to use WRT, but at the same time, I think BRT is a little bit more, how do I say this? I think it's a little bit more valid in this case. Don't worry, we'll be revisiting that topic one day next year in a project, and we'll also talk about the leftist army that they're trying to raise, which of course they deplete every single day, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's get back to the topic. Really quick, nothing wrong with doing something out of the goodness of your heart. By all means, go right ahead and do that, man. Nothing against that at all. But to see it at the very, very end where you've got a lot of people out there protesting over this, they don't want the illegals there. And I've said before that this right here is just going to create more and more and more jealousy. I mean, look, I'm all in favor of legal immigration, okay? I used to be a little bit more lenient on this topic, but over time I kind of see exactly the effects of mass migration and what it can actually do to a culture, a society, and a city. And I've said, look, put the wall up, make it harder for people to enter and get actual citizenship, make it harder for them to be able to vote. I mean, you got to kind of earn it when you get here. That's just my feeling. It's just my philosophy now. It's the way that I actually feel about this topic. And obviously, native New Yorkers, especially those who live in Queens, and of course, even some native Chicagoans are obviously getting screwed. But then again, at the same time, though, they did, in fact, vote for this. So they technically voted for the agenda that you're seeing right now, and they voted for anything and everything that's happening to them as far as one group being put ahead of themselves. Seems like these people really and truly got screwed here. But then again, though, at the same time, maybe they wanted it. I really and truly don't know at this point in time. Still, at the same time, though, you should probably take care of those who actually live in your neighborhoods, take care of those who actually live in your city first. those who are actually naturalized citizens of the country. I think you should take care of them first, ensure that they can eat long before you decide to placate to those who probably shouldn't be here. It's already bad enough that these people are living in very, very poor areas, which, by the way, they did, in fact, vote for. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to sit here and say that they didn't. But still, at the same time, a lot of these people kind of don't have a choice. I mean, let's go back to the old lady on the bench real quick. They got up at 10. They got to get there at 10, 10:30 in the morning. They got to get in line. Of course, it's cold outside, especially this time of the year in New York, especially this time of the year in Chicago, and a lot of these very blue areas, especially the ones north of the Mason-Dixon line. You got to stand out there. You got to wait. Then you show up and you find out that people are way ahead of you, even though it obviously is going to be a very, very big line. But you were expecting to get that turkey. You were expecting to get that meal because you can't actually physically pay for one, because some of the people who you've brought in are actually starting to take the jobs that these people normally work, which, by the way, are low-end jobs, don't really pay a whole lot. But normally you can at least buy yourself something to eat with. And, of course, it's a little bit harder to live on, especially given the price of the pricing in New York City, the pricing in Chicago, much higher rate of pay, of course, that people get. But at the same time, the bills are also a lot higher. If you've ever been in New York, you'll notice that things are obviously a lot more expensive. I mean, the rate of living is just much higher than it is down south. Fact of the matter is that these people, quite frankly, got screwed, and they got screwed to make a political point. As I have said to those out there who are of color, the Democratic Party is done with you. They are trying to get rid of you. They are trying to replace you with this right here. So obviously you need to wake up and actually use your brain for a second and either A, stop voting for the same politicians, stop voting Democrat, or do us all a favor and just stay home on election night, because the person that's coming into office that you claim you don't like, or the party you don't like, they actually have your better interest in mind, especially when it comes to getting the illegals out. See, the people who have been bringing these people in, they are obviously doing this to get rid of you. They no longer need you. They know that they know that the overall percentage of the black population has in fact shrunk, which, by the way, is sad. And YouTube, nobody is advocating for this. I'm just simply saying this to kind of help wake these people up. I'm also going out of my way to not only help wake these people up, but I'm trying to be realistic with them in a way that the only way I know how possible. Stop voting for this crap, because they're going out of their way to replace you with what's coming in. Don't worry, we'll talk about this in later videos. And if this right here was not more proof of the situation and more proof of what the politicians are trying to do when it comes to you, then I really and truly don't know what to tell you. But then again, though, you did in fact vote for this. It sucks that Thanksgiving was obviously stolen from you. It sucks that you were not able to get the food that, quite frankly, you have to rely on for the time being. I understand charity. I understand all that stuff. But they have just straight up told you one more time, the actual cherry on top, they have shown you, they have proven to you that they no longer care about you. They care about these people here. You are a thing of the past to them. Wake up, realize it, and let's just say smarten up. With that right there being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this video now. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sound off in the comment section. I would love to get you guys' thoughts, and I'll see you guys later.